Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you as always for your tweets. Don Hutchison is here, as is Stevie Nicol. Mark Ogden here with us as well. Mark, first question is for you. Why aren't we seeing anything happen in the transfer window? Is the biggest news really going to be Dembele or Mesut Ozil?
It is all about money. As I said before, the pandemic has really affected clubs' finances. All the big clubs are looking to lose between 80 to 100 million this year, so they can't afford to go out and buy players in this window, especially when they don't know when the pandemic's going to end. I mean, you know, nobody knows. It could be next season before they get fans back in. So I think it's all about worrying about the income streams, and they haven't got the money to spend.
Well, we talked about this next question on the show. Tell me why Liverpool are not signing a centre-back. Mark made the point that there is no money. Need Henderson and Fabinho in midfield where they belong. Don, you want Socrates from Arsenal. You said this would be brilliant.
I didn't say it would be brilliant. I said it would be a decent signing, would provide cover for Matip. I think he knows the game. Jurgen knows him from Dortmund days. I'm not saying he's an amazing centre-half, but I don't buy the argument Mark was saying before about Liverpool have got no money. I don't buy that argument with Liverpool. You know, when you think of what they've done over the last couple of years, a couple of Champions League finals, lost one, won one, Super Cup champions, World Cup champions, Premier League champions. You know, surely they've got 46 million euros, which I believe is the buyout clause for Upamecano from RB Leipzig. Surely Liverpool, at this moment in time, have got that sort of money to spend on a young, up-and-coming centre-half. So I just think if Liverpool are deadly serious, and Jurgen's deadly serious about retaining the title, surely he's got to be backed in this window and go and get him a top-class centre-half. Or someone like Socrates, which you'll get on a free, or someone like Conor Cody from Wolves, that wouldn't cost the earth. There's got to be players out there that Jurgen Klopp could bring in.
Upamecano, that release fee doesn't kick into the summer. And Cody's got to be at least 50 million, isn't he, Don? Where are you living? An English defender, English international defender? He's not cheap.
No, he's not cheap. But like Mark said, in a pandemic, Conor Cody, 50 million? I don't think he's that. I think you get him out of there for 30, something like that.
But they don't have any money, Don.
Of course they've got money. Just explain why they've got money.
Don, Don says you're talking nonsense. They've got money.
Well, I mean, they spent £60 million in the summer on Thiago and Diogo Jota, so that is a big chunk of it. And like I said earlier, they haven't really got many players they can sell. In terms of resale value, they haven't got anyone they can go to in the summer. You know, Wijnaldum, his contract's going to run down in the summer. They're going to have to replace him. So they're probably looking at the long game, thinking if Wijnaldum goes, we need an extra midfielder. The midfielders they've got are all in, you know, pushing mid to late 20s. So I suppose a lot revolves around what happens with Mo Salah. If Mo Salah in the summer becomes a saleable asset, then Liverpool can think about spending some money. But right now, they haven't got the money.
Don, do you think Alexander-Arnold is not as good as we thought he was?
Wow, I mean, that's harsh. I mean, the kid's had, a couple of bad games? Stevie had at least 100 of them.
Wow.
I mean, Trent's only had a couple of bad games, hasn't he? I mean, that's a bit harsh. Gone early there. Who's that, T? It's gone early.
Stevie?
No, I don't think he's anything other than what we thought he was. We all know that defensively, that's where his problems are. You know, this bad run that Liverpool are on, pretty much all the games have been, you know, he's been putting balls into penalty boxes that have had, a dozen to 15 players in it. So it's not quite as easy as he certainly made it look previously, but that doesn't mean that all of a sudden he's not as good as we thought he was. Listen, he's not having the best of times. He still deserves to be on the field. So yeah, I wouldn't say he's not as good as we thought he is. Yes, he is. He delivers great balls, and actually his job is to get the ball in the box. In my opinion, it's about forwards making runs and filling the gaps and getting on the end of stuff.
Stevie, how important do you guys think that the squad competition really is? Luke Shaw seems to have become so much better since Man United signed Alex Telles.
100%, absolutely. Listen, players figure out how or where they are. Players figure out if there's any chance that somebody else is going to get out in front of them. And if they come up with a no, and there's nobody in the squad that's going to push them or replace them, then it becomes easy for somebody to not down tools, but maybe just don't play with that same edge. So when you've got somebody, when you look over your shoulder and there's somebody pushing you, it gives you that extra little edge. It pushes you that little bit further. So yes, it's absolutely important.
Don?
Same, especially when you talk Man United. Do you think there's a good battle between Lindelof and Bailly for the extra spot. You think Bruno Fernandes has come in the door and, you know, changed the whole dynamic and the whole feeling of Man United's midfield. So then Paul Pogba's upped his game. So I don't think there's any coincidence. If you've got competition for places, you certainly play better and you try harder.
Since Wayne Rooney, Mark, has announced his retirement this past week, what is your favourite Rooney moment?
Wow. A lot of Rooney goals. I think the one that stands out for me is the overhead kick against Man City in 2010 or 2011. I know he kind of shinned it a little bit, but it was still quite a spectacular goal and a big moment in a big title race that season. So I'd go for that goal, the shinned overhead kick.
Your paths must have crossed, Don, at some stage, yeah?
No, Wayne, I think, would have been a baby when I was at Everton. But I just like the fact that it gives young kids hope, because Wayne was a street footballer. He just got plucked off the street. He had a different physique than anyone else. He was mean. He was horrible even at 16, 17. And I just think it gives all kids around the country, around the world, a chance to look at someone who's not traditionally built like Ronaldo and think that you've got a chance. And Wayne, you know, was a very, very underrated player. I think we think and we talk about legends too easy. But I think when you sit back and you kick back and you talk about the greats that have played in the Premier League, he has to come into the conversation.
I don't think he's underrated, is he, Don?
No, but I don't think he gets the mentions when people say, "Oh, who's the greatest Premier League player ever?" And they go very easily Thierry Henry, or they go Didier Drogba. The names seem to come off the tongue, very, very easily. But when you sit back and you think what Wayne's done for club and country, I mean, an unbelievable player.
I think because Rooney's bright spots were probably when he was 19, 20, 21. People forget what a great player he was, and he won, I think, 5 Premier Leagues, a Champions League, England's all-time top scorer, Man United's all-time top scorer, FA Cup, League Cup, Europa League. He won everything, did everything. But because he didn't quite become, you know, England's Lionel Messi because of the way he started in Portugal in 2004, people think that he didn't fulfil his potential. But, you know, look at his record, and Don's right. The record that he has outshines all of those players you mentioned, the Henrys, the Drogbas. You know, he really was a great player. It's just unfortunate that the best of it was when he was so young, but I mean, fantastic career.
Don, does Jovic scoring on his debut for Frankfurt mean that Zidane is a bad coach, or simply that he didn't fit in?
I don't think Zidane's a bad coach. I mean, how can you say that? I just didn't think he fitted in there. It might have just been too big for him. Real Madrid's a massive football club, and he might have felt a little bit inferior. I think Eintracht Frankfurt's a good fit for him. He's got Filip Kostic there, a fellow Serbian, so he goes straight back in at the team at the weekend, scores a couple of goals inside 15 minutes. And some players are like that, Dan. Some players can go to a big club, not hit it off, go back to their former club or a different club, and just hit the ground running. And I think he'll be great back again for Eintracht Frankfurt. I thought he was a good signing at the time. You know, him and Haller were scoring bundles of goals at Eintracht when Haller left for West Ham and he went to Real Madrid. It just didn't work out for him.
Stevie, this always fascinates me, and it's something we've talked about before, because you've seen strikers who are banging in goals for clubs who weren't as big as Liverpool come to Liverpool and struggle, because you think, in theory, surely you would score more goals because you've got a better supporting cast around you.
Yeah, Don touched on it. It's all about mentality. Absolutely, it's all about mentality. And, you know, people throw like the X factor out about players, and as far as Jovic, his ability in the penalty box should have been absolutely perfect for Real Madrid, and I thought it would be as well. And there is absolutely no other reason for this guy not to succeed there than the fact that mentally he can't handle the pressure of a big club day in and day out. And playing for a team like Real Madrid and Liverpool, it's an everyday at your best situation. It's not a turn up on a Saturday. It's about what you do every single day, because every single time you pull the jersey on for Real, you're expected to have a level of performance. And some players just either think about it too much, it's too much for them, and it's all between their ears. It's absolutely a mentality.
Mark, what do you think of Phil Neville into Miami? Do you see him bringing in another big name?
I think it's a good move for Phil Neville. I think, you know, he's done the England women's job for a few years now. I think he's probably got to the end of the road there. He's wanted to be a manager for quite a while. He's been a coach under David Moyes a little bit. You know, it's a big step. Phil Neville has to go there and kind of defend himself against the accusations that he's got the job because one of his best mates is the owner of Miami, David Beckham. So, but I've always been told that Phil Neville's a good coach. The players like him, so it's a good chance for him. But again, it's going to be difficult for him to prove that he got it on his own merits rather than because of who he knew.
What's going to shock him the most about coaching in MLS, Stevie?
It'll be everything that surprises you has got nothing to do with actually what happens on the field in MLS, to be honest with you. Listen, the coaching wise, regardless of the level of the player, it's the same. You know, what you want your players to be doing is the same when you get on the field, whether it's training or playing. It's all the other stuff. It's all the rules and what you can and can't do as far as trying to bring players in, as far as coming up with an idea. You know, it's not just a free-for-all. If you come up with something you want to, I'll give you an example. So I decided to try and bring a Liverpool reserve centre back. This is way back in the, you know, in the mid 2000s. I decided that, you know what, why don't I try and bring in this young kid who was playing centre back for Liverpool reserves. He was an American. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I thought that was a great idea. So I went to my director of football. He called the league. The league said I couldn't do it because because of my connections with Liverpool, it gave the Revs an advantage that wasn't fair to the rest of the league.
Sounds fair.
No.
Sounds fair.
I mean, how much? Honestly. So that was, I mean, and again, as a coach, you're going, what? It's unfair to the rest of the teams in the league, and that's what I was told. So it's all these sort of things that are going to throw him. But if he concentrates on just what he has and how he has to organise them, the way he has to do it, because of the ability that they have or the certain type of players they have, if he concentrates on that, he'll be fine. But if he starts thinking and worrying about all the other stuff that goes on, then that's what's going to hurt him. Not the fact that he can coach or not.
Stevie, I just noticed this. Have you got wireless earpods in? That's a first, isn't it?
Well, big time now, isn't it?
Look at
I'm
that.
moving on. Technology. I'm catching up with technology, innit? Now, do you want the truth?
Yeah, go on.
Do you want the truth? The truth
Yeah.
is, we went the other day and changed the phones. And I got home and I was going to put my earphones in, and I went to plug in the thing, and there was nowhere on the phone to plug it in. So I had no choice.
Hey, it looks good, Stevie. No, what is fapping about?
Big time.
You don't even have to hold your phone anymore. You could just put it behind you on the shelf.
Still in his hand. Still in his
Keep
hand.
thinking, oh, what's that?
Look,
I've still got it in my hand.
Look, go on, try it. Put it on the shelf.
Dan, I'm a creature of habit. So just leave
You
me
can't do it.
Can't do it.
Not happening.
Don, how hard is it to play without fans?
I have no idea. I've not done it apart from pre-season games. I think
just
I'd
watched it.
be terrible, Dan.
Seriously.
I watch the games and I
Oh,
try
you're
and
back.
wonder what I would be like with no fans in the stadium. I don't think I'd be any good. I was terrible in pre-season games. I really was. When there was no jeopardy on the games, I couldn't get adrenaline. I couldn't get the emotion. You get the humour. You get all of that when fans are in the stadium. You get the colour, and you know, sometimes before a game when you might be feeling a little bit under the weather and you go down the tunnel and you hear the atmosphere, and it just brings the adrenaline right out of you, and you feel as though you can get up for any single game. And I used to be terrible in pre-season. Honestly, I really was. When there's no jeopardy on the game, I was like, it doesn't count, doesn't matter. And I used to just I used to try, but I ended up just being sloppy in my passing and just giving the ball away and not having any conviction in what I was doing. So I think it's doubly hard for the players at the minute with no fans in.
So what was your excuses when you played like that during the season?
It was a mentality that the clubs are too big that I played for.
Final question. Stevie, what was your favourite thing about the best city in the world? Sheffield.
Oh, what a city!
I used to go and watch the snooker when it was there.
The Crucible.
It was fantastic.
Aye,
yeah,
very
the
nice.
Crucible. It's fantastic.
Very good.
Yes.
Don, you got obviously links with Sheffield as well.
Yeah, played for Sheffield. Great city. Some good sports bars. But like Stevie said, when the world champs come around and you got tickets for the Crucible, which is just around the corner, it's a lovely city as well, Sheffield.
Oh, there we go. What a lovely positive way to end. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Congratulations, Stevie, on getting into the 21st century. What could possibly go wrong?
Thank you.
We'll be back tomorrow to talk Chelsea-Leicester. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.